finding my grandmother Mauricia's manuscript in the loft. The first step in the journey towards Vodka was in doing my research. That's right, a little trip into the family history. I travelled around England talking to family members, knocking on doors. I even flew to Italy to meet with my second cousin Gabby, who had a few interesting yarns about my grandmother Mauricia. But what was true and what was legend?
The Tsar used to give money, golden coins.
I've got a ring which rumour has it belonged to Queen Marie Antoinette.
They had estates in Odessa and Kiev, and then a townhouse in Moscow.
I know that Mauricia escaped the Ukraine following the pogroms.
So here is your history lesson. A young girl from a hugely wealthy Jewish Ukrainian family turns 19 when the Russian Revolution begins to flow. All the Russian troops on the front, among them her brother George. Ukraine, by the way, is part of Russia at this time, a huge rebellious province yearning to break away and be free. While the whole thing is rolling towards the abyss, this romantic young girl fits in all the romance and dancing she can. When not painting and relaxing in the countryside, she enjoys teaching peasants to read in the tradition of Tolstoy. Her father runs a sugar factory and a huge country estate with a distillery. But when the revolution comes, this is expropriated. She disappears on a dance tour and meets a man called Max, who later famously becomes my grandfather.
I remember him talking that he had been a white Russian, a Cossack, and had been very much, as you were in those days, part of the cavalry.
He had originally been fighting in the White Russian Army, and he was then captured by the Red Army, and he was obliged to fight for them. But of course, as soon as he possibly could, he got away from them. So he was then wanted by the Reds for desertion and wanted by the Whites because he had for a while been in Red captivity.
In an exciting and very lucky escape, the pair traverse Europe, living for a time in Antwerp, then moving briefly to London. It was here that Mauricia gave birth to my dad, George, bizarrely on the day the Queen Mother chose to pop in and open a ward. After that, Max got offered a job managing a rag factory in Belfast, and the family moved to Northern Ireland. Meanwhile, in Ukraine, things were awful. Mauricia's cousins were from a theatrical family in Odessa, and they were in trouble.
Artists. All this group of the family were artists. And they had a theater, and the theater was working even during the revolution. And they killed them all of them, they killed them.
Things are tough for the first couple of decades in communist Ukraine, but they become a whole lot worse during the Second World War. Over one weekend in September 1941, 33,771 Jews were murdered by the Nazis in a tranquil ravine called Babelgum. This was the same date her brother Alfred disappeared from his job, and we also know that her younger sister Lily didn't survive the Second World War. In Belfast, my granny found a strange kind of freedom, but her passionate nature soon found itself sympathising with the Republicans. And while my granddad began to flourish, opening his own business and hobnobbing with the Protestant elite, my granny converted to Catholicism and died young, buried in the same cemetery as most of the IRA on the Falls Road. As she was dying, she wrote a letter to her son.
When peace shall be restored, you must go with Daddy to Russia and try and find all about my people. Think how nice it would be for you to find suddenly people who love you even without knowing you. Anyhow, you must visit Dubroviazovka and walk about the park.
Sadly, my dad died young too, while the Iron Curtain was still very much in the way of answering her call. So, it's up to me to go back and see what I can find out.